Good evening, and welcome to Nox Historia. Tonight, we travel to the world of Angkor, the great city of the Khmer. So set the day down. Whatever it asked of you, it has already taken, and it is finished now. There is nothing more to answer, nothing more to carry, no hour left to keep. Let your shoulders come down away from your ears. Let the breath go slow. The light is turning gold and then rose over a wide green floodplain, and the warm air smells of wet earth and wood smoke and the sweetness of ripening rice. Come with me gently and let the present loosen its hold. We are going somewhere very old and very alive, and, for all the crowds that fill its days, very soft and very quiet once the dark comes down. We are traveling to Angkor, in the land the Khmer call their own, in what is now Cambodia, in the years around 1150. This is the reign of a king remembered as Suryavarman II, who has held the throne for something close to 40 years, from about 1113. In his time, a temple has risen on the plain that will outlast every wooden thing around it, a vast stone mountain surrounded by water, which later ages will call Angkor Wat. It has been rising stone upon stone for the better part of a lifetime, and even now the carvers are still at work along its galleries. This is one of the greatest cities on the whole of the earth in its day. And here is something most people never learn. When you picture Angkor, you may picture a lost city, grey ruins strangled by roots, swallowed whole by the jungle, forgotten for centuries until some explorer came hacking through the leaves to find it. It is a lovely story. It is not quite true. Angkor was never truly lost. Long after its greatest days had passed, monks still lit their lamps at the temple. Villagers still farmed the old fields and knew the towers by name. Pilgrims still came. The stone waited, yes, and the forest leaned close, but people were always there, all the while, living quietly among the works of their forefathers. We will come to it not as ruins, but as home. You do not need to remember any of this, not the names, not the dates, not a single figure. Let them drift past like lamplight on water. If you happen to fall asleep before the end, that is exactly what this is for. So let us begin. We come to Angkor at dusk from a little height, and the first thing to understand is the water. Below you the land lies flat to every horizon, and it is stitched together with water, a shining grid of it catching the last of the sky. Long straight canals, broad rectangular reservoirs, still as poured glass. Moats drawn around town and temple. This is the secret of the whole city, and it is worth knowing why. Here the year has two faces. For half of it, the monsoon comes and the rains fall, and the world runs green and wet. For the other half, the sky closes up, and the dry months bake the plain hard. So the Khmer learned, over generations, to catch the wet season and keep it, to hoard the monsoon in enormous still basins they call barrays, and lead it out again through canals and moats across the long dry months, so the rice paddies never truly thirst. It is a whole city built to hold water. That is why so many of them can live here. Perhaps 700,000 people, perhaps more, are spread across this watered plain and the fields around it, a sprawl of homes and gardens and paddies covering something like 1,000 square kilometers. By the measure of its own age, there may be no larger city anywhere on earth. And yet, from up here at dusk, it does not look like a great city at all. It looks like a garden, low and green and gentle, more water and leaf than stone and stir, breathing out the day's heat as the light fails. You would never guess, looking down, how many quiet lives are folded into it. Let us come down now, slowly, toward the greatest of the temples. As the light goes rose and then grey, you see it ahead, across a sheet of still water. The temple the king has raised, ringed by a moat so wide it is almost a lake, a band of quiet water running the whole way round, near enough 5 kilometers to walk its full circuit. In the dying light, the water lies perfectly flat, and the 5 stone towers stand upside down in it, doubled, tower and reflection meeting at the waterline. There is a long causeway of stone leading in across the moat, broad and level, and we walk out along it without hurry. On either side, the water holds the last color of the sky. Ahead, the towers rise like the peaks of a sacred mountain, for that is what this is meant to be, a model of the home of the gods, built in stone here on the flat, wet earth, so that heaven might have a place to rest among people. It is the largest religious monument that human hands will ever raise, and this evening it is simply quiet and cool and going dark. Now let us turn away from the temple and walk out among the living, into the streets where the people of Angkor make their homes. And here you meet the great gentle truth of this place. The temples are of stone, the houses are not. Look around you and you will see almost no stone at all in an ordinary street. You will see wood, for the Khmer keep stone for the gods alone, and for the god-king who stands between the gods and the land. Stone is for what must last forever. People do not live forever, and so people live in wood and thatch and woven bamboo, warm, breathing materials cut from the forest and the paddy. This is the reason, the simple reason, why in later ages only the temples still stand, while the city that once pressed around them has melted back into green. The homes did not fail, they were only ever meant to be mortal, like the hands that raised them.
So the houses stand up on stilts, on stout wooden posts, lifting the living floor well clear of the ground. This too is the water's doing. When the monsoon comes and the land floods and the low places fill, the house stays dry and airy above the wet, and beneath it, in the dry season, is a shaded place to work and to store the boat and to keep out of the sun. You climb a wooden ladder or a notched log to reach the door. The walls are woven panels. The roof is thatch, steep and deep, made to shed the heavy rain. Between the houses run lanes of packed earth and little gardens and ponds and the ever-present ditches of water. Cooking fires are being lit now all across the town, and the blue smoke rises straight up into the still evening and hangs there, softening every edge. Let us climb up into one of these homes and rest a while. Slip off at the ladder's foot and go up and step inside. The floor is smooth wood, cool and a little springy underfoot, swept clean. The room is open and simple. There is little furniture, for in this warm land one does not need much. A few mats woven of reed and pandan, a wooden chest, some baskets, a shelf of earthenware pots. The woven walls breathe. A warm draught moves gently through the room and stirs the thatch overhead. Through the doorway you can see the last grey light on the water outside, and hear, very faint and far off, the ordinary music of a town settling toward night. A dog, a voice, the knock of a wooden pestle somewhere, all of it softened by distance and by the thick, warm air. Come and sit near the hearth,
for the evening meal is being made. The fire is small and low, set in a bed of earth or in a wide clay pot, and it burns down toward embers as the rice cooks over it. A little lamplight gives its steady flame, and by that soft yellow light the shadows move slow and easy across the woven walls. The warmth of the fire and the warmth of the day are the same warmth now, gentle and close, wrapping round you. There is no hurry in any of it. Rice takes the time it takes. You watch the low flames, and the embers glow and dim as they breathe, and your eyes grow heavy in the lamplight, and that is exactly as it should be. The lamp is only a small clay dish of oil with a wick of twisted cotton, the same simple light that burns in every home along the lane tonight, and in the temple, and in 1,000 homes you cannot see, a whole city held together after dark by these little steady flames, each one no bigger than a fingertip, each one keeping its own small circle of warm gold against the wide, soft dark. And now the meal, which is the meal of Angkor, and has been for 1,000 years, rice and fish. Rice from the paddies that the whole great machine of water exists to feed, soft, steamed grains, warm, faintly sweet, the plain good center of every table. And fish from the water, for this land is blessed with fish beyond almost anywhere on earth. Away to the south lies a great shallow lake called the Tonle Sap, and that lake does something so strange that even now it seems half a wonder. Most of the year, a river drains it gently away toward the sea, but when the monsoon swells, the river turns and flows the other way, backward, up into the lake, until the Tonle Sap spreads to many times its dry season size and fills with fish in numbers beyond counting. The Khmer take that harvest and salt it and ferment it and dry it, and it feeds the city all year. So on your dish tonight is fish and rice, perhaps a little ginger, some herbs from the garden, a fruit sweet and cool to finish, simple and old and enough. While the household eats, let me tell you how we know these small things, the pots, the fire, the fish, the shape of an ordinary evening, for no ordinary Khmer wrote them down. Some of it the stones themselves remember. Along the galleries of the great temple, carvers have cut mile upon mile of pictures into the walls, and among the gods and the kings they have left, almost by accident, the everyday world, a market with its stalls, a woman at her cooking pot, men leaning over a cockfight, a merchant weighing goods. And some of it we owe to a visitor. A long while after this night, near enough 150 years later, around 1296, a Chinese envoy named Zhu Daguan came to Angkor and stayed the better part of a year, and, being a curious man far from home, he wrote down what he saw: the stilt-houses and their thatch, the food in the market, the clothes, the festivals, the plain doings of the people. His little book is one of the few windows we have into a living Khmer day. The great inscriptions, carved in Sanskrit and in the old Khmer tongue, tell us of kings and gods and gifts to temples, but it is the quiet envoy and the accidental corners of the carvings that let us sit by this fire at all. The meal is done now, and the household settles. Bowls are set aside. A grandmother folds a mat. Somewhere a child has already gone down into sleep on the smooth wooden floor, one arm flung out, and no one wakes her. The lamp is turned low. Outside, the last of the cooking smoke has thinned away, and the town has gone quiet lane by lane, house by house, the way a tide goes out.
You can almost feel it, the whole watered city letting go of the day at once, all across that 1,000 square kilometers, all those hundreds of thousands of people lying down under their steep thatched roofs above the still water, and the warm dark settles over all of it, soft as a hand. Let us step out once more into the night and walk back toward the temple, because there is one more thing to see. In the dark, the great stone mountain is only a deeper darkness against the stars, but at its heart, in the innermost shrine, a lamp is burning. A priest tends it. Small offerings rest before the god. Flowers, rice, a little oil, the smoke of something sweet drifting up and away. The stone is cool now, holding the day's warmth deep inside it, and the flame stands very still in the windless dark, and its light moves faint and gold across the carved figures on the walls, gods and dancers and long processions, all of them holding perfectly still, keeping the god company through the night, as they have every night for a lifetime, as they will for centuries after everyone in this story is gone. And now come away from the shrine, out under the open sky, to the edge of one of the great reservoirs, and simply stand a moment. The barre is enormous. One of them stretches some 8 kilometers one way and 2 the other, a made sea lying flat on the plain, and tonight it is a black mirror, without a ripple, holding the whole sky doubled in it. Above you, the stars are thick and close and very bright, the warm south stars, and every one of them lies again in the still water at your feet, so that you seem to stand between 2 skies, with the dark water breathing softly somewhere below. The air is warm. Somewhere far off a night bird calls once and is quiet. There is nothing to do here, and nowhere to be, and no hour that matters. Just the still water, and the doubled stars, and your own slow breath. And since we are standing under the water, under the stars, let me tell you the story the Khmer carved into the walls of the great temple, the story of the churning of the sea of milk, told gently, the way it is meant to be told at the close of a day. In the beginning, the tale says, the gods desired the nectar of everlasting life, which lay hidden in a vast ocean of milk, and this was a labor too great for any one of them, and so, for once, gods and their old rivals agreed to work together. They took a great mountain for a churning stick and set it upright in the sea, and they took the king of serpents and wound him round the mountain for a rope, and then in 2 long lines they took hold, one side pulling, then the other, back and forth, and so they turned the mountain and churned the ocean, slowly, for an age of the world. And out of the turning, little by little, the sea gave up its treasures, and at the last it gave up the nectar of life. On the temple wall, the 2 long lines of figures still pull at the great serpent, forever mid-pull, and the mountain turns forever in the milk, and it is, when you stand before it, a strangely peaceful thing, an endless, patient, rhythmic labor, back and forth, like the swing of something rocking, like a tide, like breathing, back and forth, slow and even and without end. Let that rhythm carry you now, the pulling of the long lines, back and forth, the wet and the dry, the flood and the fall, the great slow turning of the monsoon year that made this whole city possible, all of it moving gently, all of it in time, all of it going on without needing anything from you at all. You are only here to rest a while, a guest for one warm night in the greatest city of its age, watching the lamplight on the water. And all of this is still here in its way. The wooden houses have long since returned to the earth as they were always meant to. But the great temple still stands above its wide moat, and the water still lies flat and shining in the evening, and the reservoirs still hold the sky. On the flag of Cambodia today, those 5 stone towers are stitched in white, the only building on any nation's flag anywhere in the world, so that a whole people carry the shape of this night with them everywhere they go. The lamp at the shrine was never quite allowed to go out. The city was never quite lost, and the same warm stars still come out over the same still water as they did on this night around 11:50, as they do now, as you perhaps are sleeping now. So let go of the last of it, whatever you are still holding. Let it slip down like the lamp being turned low. There is nothing to keep watch over here. The water is calm, the stars are doubled in it. The great stone mountain keeps its own quiet vigil, and the warm dark has wrapped the whole city softly for the night. You have nowhere to be but here, and here asks nothing of you at all. Sleep well, and when you are ready to travel again, Nox Historia will be waiting. Good night.